So welcome back. We're here talking about the Advancement Centre again, and today it's a beautiful day. We're outside with canopies, and it's quite relaxed. So what I'd like to do is just gradually get in contact with you all in the way I do, and we'll start to just lift you a little so that the mundane week disappears and you start to feel the energy flow again. As I do that, I'll be bringing in a lot more information today about stuff, have no name for it, that I'm sure will lead everybody into that place that they need to be, where they've got access to everything and no concerns about anything. So as the words come to you, I'd like you to just allow yourself to drift a little bit. Feel like, well, you can be a teenager or a young child or whatever, but a little bit of daydreaming and an easy position in the world. All the concerns are going to disappear as I speak, and you won't be able to do anything about it. You can try to bring them back, but they'll just gradually drift off, because that's the world of magic and miracles. And with our presence, you can't find anything wrong. That place that you brought with you into this world is now very prominent. And it keeps you company a lot more than it used to. And you don't have to do anything to get there. When you're in that space, you can move forward very quickly. And the aim of our whole Advancement Centre is to encourage advancement. Not by encouraging anything that you do or you don't do, but by encouraging the fact that you know how. And in knowing how, you can't describe it to anyone, but you can enjoy it, and you can be stupid, and you can relax, and you can dream, and you can actually see yourself in the opposite position to what you're in right now. It's not a matter of visioning anything. It's real. Our position in the world doesn't depend on anything, but it can be taken out of that position by all the things around us or by what we decide. So there is one little decision, and that's, you want to feel totally comfortable or not. It's a big decision. When you decide to be totally comfortable, no matter what, all the discomfort disappears, and the source of it, and the annoyance, and the consistency. But the thing that's programmed into us all the time is, well, what about my financial situation? I've got to pay the bills, I've got to go to the bank, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. I want you to just imagine you're getting ready to go on vacation. You've just declared holidays, and you're going on vacation, and you're leaving at 3 o'clock this afternoon. All those hundreds of things that have to be done. You have to make sure everything's clean. You have to get the garbage out. You have to pack everything. You make sure the car's working. Make sure all the family's okay, and you've got enough for the time you're going to be away. And I could go on with this massive list, and you've got a couple of hours. You always get it done. And you leave all that stuff behind. So what used to take you all week to get through, you do in a few hours, and you don't do it again for 3 weeks while you're on holidays. Of course, you declare the holiday. So it's not necessary to do all the stuff that you've programmed into your life. you have the opportunity to turn it off whenever you feel like it. So it's good to dare to declare a holiday when nobody else does. And when you declare a holiday for yourself, your efficiency goes up. The spare time you have doesn't get taken up with all the things that you thought you had to do. And you find a different life. If you do that every now and then, you'll find that you're doing it all the time, because it's much easier and much nicer than the mundane, I was going to give it a word, but the mundane stuff that you do all day, it's not necessary. Celebration, relaxation, lots of exercise, lots of stupidity, going out, doing all that happens when you're on holidays because you decided. That world where everything runs freely is there all the time. That's the world that allows us to advance. And it's not dependent on being a holiday, it's dependent on you declaring it to be a holiday. Big difference. You can go to work and you can finish a day's work in the first 10 minutes and then just enjoy what you do. Sounds a little bit like it's false, but I've been doing that for many, many years. And people used to say, how come your desk's always clean? You've got all these people working for you and all this paperwork to do and all these things to design and your desk's always clear. And I used to just say, well, I don't do any work. And they'd just wave me off and laugh a little bit. But in fact, that's the way I saw it. And I probably did 10 times as much as most people. But I made sure I did it in the first 10 minutes when I got to work. The rest of the day just went along by itself. I never planned anything. I just set it all up so that everything would come and tell me what to do. So what I'm suggesting is, in the long term, everyone can take the life that's getting totally destroyed and pack it into the first part of the day when you're the most efficient, then go and do what you like. And you'll find that you're actually doing very constructive things. You'll have interests that pop up out of nowhere and allow you to demonstrate the special being that you are. The miracles that happen around you are always amazing. But when you free up that world that's so unique, that's you, it starts to perform for you without you even thinking about it. And isn't that what happens on holidays? On the vacation, everything goes perfectly. Everything turns up at the right time. You get your accommodation at the right price. You meet the right people. And you might be thousands of miles away from where you live and you meet the person next door. All those things are hidden when you spend all your time maintaining a life that's not really yours. It can belong to anybody else, but it's not really yours. The life that's yours is yours. And you don't have to do anything to make it work. It works itself. As soon as that starts to happen, all the effects that the world and its operations have on you disappear. I was standing there yesterday and a hummingbird, I thought it was going to run into me. It came straight at me and stopped and flapped its wings and you could feel the vibration. And then it just went up a little bit, had a look at me and left. That was enough to really make my day. It doesn't take much. And you're walking around for the rest of the day with such a high feeling because of one tiny little bird. And it doesn't take much in our world to make us really, really happy. In the world that's been displayed We have to have everything to make us happy. And then we've got to have more because that didn't work. And we watch the television that says, oh, well, if you do this, it'll be better. So you try all that, costs you a lot of money, you pay it off for the rest of your life, and you're in a corner. And the only way to get out of the corner is declare a holiday and say, I'm not going to do it anymore. You don't need to maintain your world. And if you're maintaining a world, it's not the world that's most advantageous to you. And it's not the thing in the world, it's not the event. It's where you see yourself in every moment. So we can see ourselves totally happy digging dirt, totally happy lifting a log, or working in the office. We can also do the same thing sitting down doing nothing. It's the skill of that advanced being that you have to use to entertain its spirit. So if you're not entertaining the spirit that keeps you alive, it's going to go somewhere else. So it just drifts off and sits in a tree somewhere and waits for you to do something. But if you're entertaining it, it stays with you, it leads you around, and your brilliance starts to show, and your eyes sparkle, and you become that elegant being that looks in the mirror and sees an elegant being, not a picture of somebody that doesn't look right. If you look in the mirror and you see the picture of someone that's not the right shape, you're not looking at the right person. You look in the mirror and you see the brilliance and you see your eyes shining, you see everything around you. That is the being that is so advanced that it will take us all to new levels. What we decided to do when we got the Advancement Centre going was to encourage everyone to find their potential and then go past it. And there was all these interactions of, well, how do we do that? And I sat down one day to speak, and in comes the voice that tells us all. And that's what's happening now. I just sit here and I speak and I don't plan anything. And that voice is part of our being, it's part of our universe, and it speaks to all of us. Every time you say something brilliant, you reel back and go, where did that come from? Because you are breaking through the facade that you present to the world. And it's usually really brilliant stuff. Or you solve something, or you achieve something, and go, I didn't know I could possibly do that. We're now heading towards the position where that will be our presence all the time. And while we're all together and talking like this, you can't find any other presence. It won't come in because it's somebody else's world. It's somebody else's picture. And it's usually a manufactured picture that's painted everywhere, so that everywhere you turn, you get this manufactured picture. I can guarantee that after a while you won't even see these pictures. It can be a big ad on the side of a bus. You won't see it. You'll just see the bus. Because anything that doesn't fit that world disappears. And people say, but you must see it. No, I didn't see it. I'm sorry. I saw a green bus. This will happen over and over and over. And you won't see the degraded parts of the world. Like if you're sitting on nice green grass and enjoying a picnic or something, You don't dig down under the grass and have a look at all the bugs there, do you? But they're there. You know they're there. And you don't see them. You only see the surface that suits you. This is the world that was given to us. We can have whatever perspective we want without deciding. So where one person would see the ground's dirty, you would sit down and it wouldn't be. And this is true. This is what happens. Someone else would see, oh, I'm going to get stains on my clothes. The other person would just sit down and not get any problem. Because the world will provide whatever you want. But if you go past that, where you're looking at the future, and you're allowing the future to generate what's happening now, everything's perfect. And the reason for that is it's delivered through that one channel that always works, and that's through the world of your creator. It distributes everything correctly, and you don't have to know how. I mentioned before that, you know, if you start thinking about how to walk, you feel really awkward. But if you follow on your spirit, you walk with elegance and charm and with a sparkle, and everybody looks at you and says, wow, what are you doing, or what are you on? You know, and it's natural, and it happens for everyone. So the spirit within you really needs to be entertained, and it can be entertained by the simplest things. No matter who is in your field, their transmission will adjust if your field is big enough. I remember lots of things from before I came up to this earth, and one of the greatest things was to experience moving through somebody's field. It's just such a thrill, and everybody's so different, and it's a gift we offer to one another. And we have it here, if you allow it to happen. And every girl knows that they can turn a man's head from the other side of the street, if they want to. And distance doesn't matter. So we have the ability to offer one another the feeling of our presence, the unique feeling of our presence. Not the one that says, come any closer or I'll kill you. The one that says, you're fine, you're not touching me, and I'm enjoying your field and you're enjoying mine. And can be from miles away, can be up close. That's one of the great skills, that as someone comes to mind, you think they're coming to mind, but they popped in from nowhere. They're actually touching your field and saying hello. From anywhere and everywhere. And it's not a mind thing. And it's not a heart thing. It's natural. We scan all the time. We move right throughout the universe, regularly, every second. And we can decide to look out the window at any time we like. While we're traveling, while we're sitting still, while we're talking. There's another part happening all the time. And if you're aware of that, it's fun. Because you can be listening to someone, not hearing a word, but actually hearing the word behind the word, which is what makes you feel at home. Because the words behind the word, or vice versa, are the ones that you're familiar with from your origin. As we bring our gift into the world, it covers much more than we have ever thought it could possibly cover. because we keep thinking it's something we carry. It's our allowance of our field to be present at a level that affects everyone. Just have a look at that. At a level that affects everyone. Not to destroy them, but to affect them in an uplifting way. And to know that they don't have to be in front of you. So anybody that you feel in your field, you can add the gift of your presence. You watch them change instantly. Their life will just become so glorious because you're all such magnificent beings that you can extend that far and take people to another place without them even knowing. That's the sole purpose of our existence. And the mystery of our personality is something that we should be really proud of and demonstrate whenever we get a chance. I have no idea how to bring it to words, but I know that I can let you feel it. In the elegance of just knowing that this is present is all we need to know. And once we feel the familiarity, even the flies like it. So now we're really looking towards what we can do in the future. Every one of us here are looking towards something new because we're in that place where we can go for it. And we keep reiterating on the fact that when we were younger, we never ever worried about whether we had a possibility of earning $20 million over our life so that we could raise a child. You know, never worried about how much we'd have to pay out for a house, or a car, or the accidents, or the medical. Never thought of it and never bothered about it. And it all worked. It's only when you sit down and add it up and say, oh, based on that, I don't have enough left. You didn't have anything to start with. Zero. Absolutely nothing. And it's not the job or anything. It's the fact that you are capable. We have abilities that we have not yet touched. And one of the abilities that I'm going to ask you all to look at is your ability to create a real entity that's called your life. And that real entity will be alive and kicking and really running you in circles without you having to do anything. Because that's what you did when you were 18 or 20. You allowed that entity to grow to where it was just magnificent. And then all the varieties of life, let it disappear. And we assumed it was degenerating, but it's not. So in all our efforts, the simplicity of life is what makes the entity live. And if you can see that that entity creates a value in the world that's beyond all measure, it has the ability to do all the things that it decides. and to do it with ease. And the second we say, well, I could do it if I had money, you kill it. It's like saying, well, I could walk 1,000 miles if I had shoes. You never think about it. You just do what you do, and it all happens. And it's not creating it out of midair, it's creating it through the energy you created. That entity is much bigger than human being. And it takes everything that you can possibly think of and generates a reality. That reality will carry you for the rest of your life and beyond. So what you're building is really big. It has to exist everywhere, has to be recognized by everyone, and it's not an image, it's accepted throughout the world and beyond. Then you feel secure. And your security is in your spirit flying. It can only happen if we really and truly have the purpose in mind of moving forward. Once I faced some pretty difficult situations, physical and otherwise. And I had this continuous revolving thought pattern that I couldn't see. And it drove me almost crazy with panic because I didn't think I was able to get better. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I saw this pattern. And it was rethinking and rethinking and rethinking and rethinking and trying and trying and trying. And then all of a sudden, I just stood up and said, I need to be an inch taller. Then I can see over this. And I just stretched up and I could feel my whole body changing. And then all of a sudden, I could see past everything and it all fell away. This is the magic that happens to each individual. It might not happen to you, it might not happen to anyone else. But just to see that you can be totally trapped in the fact that you are not healthy, your whole world's fallen down, you've got no money, you've got no one to help you, no matter which way you go, it does the same. And then when you stand a little bit taller, it all falls away, you walk away from it, and you start all over again. But you don't start doing what you did before. That's just a small example of the capability of you rebuilding an entity in a matter of moments. So once you can see there is a place where your spirit is totally happy and totally comfortable no matter what, you can move on and accelerate with an enormous pace and an enormous capacity. So I think we're about to go for a break now. And yeah, just relax and we'll be back soon talking on another subject, I suppose. But let's see. Thank you. Hi, we're back again. Hope you had a good break. It's nice to be able to just sit and talk to all the people out there and everywhere else. And those who are going to look at this video later, because what we've been accessing over the last half an hour is a part of our being that has capacities well beyond the state that we're used to. And in those capacities, time is not important. It really doesn't do anything for us. And distance is not important. And so if you want to fix anything, it's easier to say don't bother and see it in the future as it should be. The exercises that we can do to change anything or assist anything are totally different to what happens automatically. Automatically, everything's done over the whole field, over the whole time zone, forward, backward, sideways, into every channel that you possibly know, and it puts everything back to normal. If you tried to do that in 100 years, you might do half of it, but in a fraction of a second, your enormous ability can put everything right everywhere. And it's a very important function that you have. Your ability to put everything right determines not just the future, but the past and the present, and everybody's position in the world and beyond. So when you know that capacity, you very quickly drop all the old habits. You very quickly see that the criticism doesn't really do anything. And you very quickly see that attending to what's here now or what's in the past is a waste of time. It's already happened. But looking to where everything is perfect will advance us so far that we will skip time and we'll go to that 0 point where everything meets properly. Now this may seem a little bit way out. This is your ability to put everything right in the world and beyond by skipping to that place where everything meets one time. By getting up in the morning and going, yeah, I'm here, instead of getting up in the morning and saying, I missed it. I missed the train. I should have woken up an hour before. Nothing about time helps us in the achievement of the impossible. Time is used to tell you it didn't happen. But in fact, at that time it probably didn't. At the correct time it did. So when you move to the correct time, which is not measured by the clock, it's measured by time and space that you control. You can move everyone and everything into that perfect space and say to anyone you like, so tell me about your problem now. They won't even remember. They can't even access it because those things don't exist unless you're out of step. So when you watch two children skipping down the road together, arm in arm, in perfect harmony, never missing a beat, you can see an enormous power around just two people because they got it together. And that's two people that weren't even trying. And everyone can remember that in their life. There was a time when you're in perfect harmony with everything and with the person alongside you, be it a girlfriend, boyfriend, parent, whatever. There is a time. And as soon as you feel it, you feel the buzz. And that is that time of perfection that we all know about. And we're not looking for it, we're there. And we're there because we spoke about it. So as you speak of the good things in life, they appear. You don't have to manufacture them because you're talking from your own knowledge. You don't have to prove it to anyone, you're just speaking. You're having a conversation and enjoying a conversation. And it has nothing to do with the subject. If you get into conversation with somebody on a particular subject, you'll find yourself very uncomfortable because there'll be opinions, limits, solid things that you have to deal with. If you're just having a conversation, those same things can come up and go away and be solved or whatever in seconds because you're just having a conversation. In the mode of time where time doesn't matter. And if ever you think of the times when you just had a chat to someone and hours go by and you stand up afterwards and say, wow, that went fast. Because you were in that space where everything's perfect and where time doesn't matter. And they're the places and the times where you can expand all sorts of things. And you can develop the entity that is you without even one bit of advertising. And all of a sudden, your capability has increased. And all the things you've ever done in your life become available to you in a second. And a few things that you've never done as well. Because you're totally comfortable, you're entertaining your spirit, you don't care about time, and you've declared a holiday. So back to declaring a holiday, it works. It doesn't matter, even if you've got an illness, you declare a holiday, you can give it up. You don't need it. Too busy doing everything else. There's a little thing in the brain that wants to interfere with everything we do because it believes it's in control. It's really, really important that you fool that part of yourself quite often. And so you don't tell it lies, you just declare things and it changes its mode. You declare a holiday, boom, this bit changes its mode. It says, well, I don't have to worry about all those things and I won't make you feel bad. If you're having a conversation and you turn off time, you'll have the time of your life. That part of your brain just got fooled because you turned time off. If you're in a hurry to go somewhere, just see yourself as already there. That part of your brain will leave you alone. So it's a little bit of skill in some of this until it relaxes and feels comfortable. I can relate many times when I've had to do that myself to waylay all the pressures of work and impossibilities that stood in front of us with major construction works and major electrical and electronic commissioning. The program says you can't possibly do it on time and you don't have enough money and you don't have enough people. And you just look at it, see the end date, decide, yeah, we can do that. And as soon as you do that, everything changes. And I remember sitting in a meeting once, and an engineer beside me, um, after I'd told people what we could build and in what time, and we, we won the contract. It's very big. And Mike says, he just gives me a nudge and he says, "How the hell are you going to do that?" I said, "I don't know." And we both got up from the meeting and walked out happy. Everyone was happy. And then we started doing it. And we did achieve it right on the day. It was a 2-year project. And we finished right at midday of the last day. So, and we achieved the impossible, but we only did it because we were stupid. And we didn't take any notice of the limitations. And we both knew that you could tell yourself whatever you wanted to. And that part of your brain gets out of the road and then you get on with it. So as we move forward, I'd like to impart a lot of those little examples on, so that you can see that it's possible. But further than that, I'd rather you not take any notice of me and just enjoy the conversation. And then don't even think about it. And watch what happens to your life. You don't need to do anything, even though I give you an example or I'll tell you how. But what you do need to do is know that you are that rogue stallion, that one that's totally uncontrollable unless it's in its own environment. And then it displays magic and beauty that you can't believe. And you don't have to find that environment, it comes with you. So the second you step into that impossible place where everything's possible, you're out of time, you're out of tune, you're actually in somebody else's world. As we get along with our weekly discussions, we're going to expand a lot. We're not really sure what we're going to do, but we're going to expand a lot. And this is the same thing I'm talking about. We're going to become very big, and we're going to make sure that everybody's supported throughout the world. This is not a mean venture. This is something that we all know about, and we all know the capacity of it. And we don't have to force one another. We just have to keep going. And the only reason we have to keep going at the moment is because we've got too many things hanging off our tail. As soon as we get moving, they'll disappear. And we won't have to worry about movement, it'll just continue. So, you know, even on a financial basis, we have to build new things for new purposes that are not here now. Because one of the agreements in this development is you can only advance if you don't go oppose anything, if you don't compete with anything, if you don't do the same as anyone else. So big opening for everyone, and it doesn't come from your brain, because you ought to know that that's just regurgitates everything we've already got, and we just declared that a no-no. Nothing that we do we're the same as anything else. So even the development in the commercial sense will be quite different. And yeah, I think we've all got lots of ideas, but it's not going to be an idea that works, because ideas are just built from the past. It'll all be totally new, totally out of nowhere, done by following our spirit, with the knowledge that we can do it, because we said so. So what we really declare every day is, yeah, we can do this. We brought it here with us. Got no idea of the name of it. No idea what I'm going to do. But I have a certainty it just about blows me out of the water. And the vibration that comes with that is absolutely undeniable. Because each person has within them the capacity to do what the whole world does at one time. So we're all slack. We're doing I don't know how many, a billionth of what we can do. Our capacity is enormous. Our power is enormous. Our ability to generate electricity with one hand is so simple. We just don't try it because someone said you're not supposed to do that. So all the things we're not supposed to do are the very things that will get us to the future in a whole different way than what we are now. So if you just put a little sparkle there that says, show up if I'm doing something different, then you can follow it. And that's all you have to do. And you follow it, and it will take you to something different every minute of every day. And when you look at things, if the sparkle's not there, you say, well, I'm seeing it the way it was. I'm not seeing the new bit. And a simple act like that will take you to a new world, to a world that is so exciting and so capable that you don't need to even describe it. And there's nothing that I can express more sincerely than the fact that that's where I live. So I can tell you it's true. And I didn't get there by any simple means. I had to stop a truck head on, and that sort of woke me up. So I don't suggest you do that. I suggest you just go there without any difficulty at all. Because it's been done once, it can be done again. You don't have to redo anything. So if one person in the world does something, you don't have to redo it. You already know you're capable of doing it, so you do something better. And this is what takes us ahead. And as soon as somebody says, oh, you can't do that, you say, great, that's my job. Well, that's impossible. Yeah, that sounds good enough to me. You can't build that on time. You watch. You haven't got enough money. Don't need it. Somebody else has got it. We're all taking on the little parts of our world instead of taking on the whole world. You see people walking around as if they're carrying the world. I don't know how they do that. When you're bigger than the world, you can't get it on your back. It just disappears within you. And each thing you touch, from where we're talking about in that perfection, it has no distance, it has no weight, it has no time, and it's easy. To the outside world, it looks just the same as everybody else. But your capacity and your capability are yours. And you don't have to take it on. Every time someone suggests you have to do something, just look at it, take a little bit of time, and see another way. Because there is always another way. And it always does a better job than what you expect. And who said you have to walk a straight line? You know, if you you're going to another part of the country, you don't mind which way you go. You just set the start point and the destination. And you'll go all over the place, and that's fine. Sometimes it takes longer, sometimes it's shorter, but it's all a different experience, and you never complain about it. But if you've got to do something for yourself, and you can't do a straight line method, you get really, really upset. And what I'm suggesting is, don't even look at your direction. Don't even care if you're going backwards, because sometimes you've got to step away so that you can go forward. You don't have to control that. That world of yours will control every bit of it. And if you're light-hearted enough, you want to walk to the front of the house, you might find you skip. You might find you dance around or do circles. And it's so much better, it's shorter, because it's a different method. But if you drag your feet and walk along, it's a long way. Our system is not designed like a machine. It's actually the opposite. The more you do with a light heart, the more energy is available to you and the easier it is. It's just total opposite to a machine. You don't use your fuel up, you generate more fuel. You know what happens if you run around the block? I mean, you stop and it's just overpowering because you've got more fuel than when you started. And no one thinks of that. They just say, oh, I have to get rid of this. I'm supposed to be worn out. No. You're exhilarated, allow it to be there. Open up so that all those fuel cells start to burn, And then you're way ahead. You're way ahead of the mark. As we step forward, we'll find that this working beyond technology is going to be a really big thing, because we will use technology for the best reason, for what it was designed for, not to support us. We'll be way ahead of technology. And as we want to communicate, as we want to do things like we're doing now, the technology will be there, just like your phone, goes in your pocket. If you want it, you pull it out. Otherwise, it doesn't even concern you. When we first got those nice phones, had every game you could think of, everything you could think of, and after 4 days of looking at this little square thing, we realised, no, that goes in my pocket or my bag. It doesn't belong in my face. And so now we're used to that technology. It's in the right place. And that's what I'm saying will happen as we move forward. We will be in advance of technology the way it was supposed to be. So the biggest step for all of us is to see that this is going to be a really big deal that will not only make money for everyone, it will support your ability to live beyond all sense of means, to live beyond all sense of time, and to not take any notice of the limiting factors that are in our life at the moment. So I think we're about close to the end. I was about to have a drink, but I'd love to leave you with one little thought again. I won't go cheese, but the one little thought is, follow your spirit and chase it every chance you get. Thank you.